Welcome to Fine Living, presented by Jim Reif Builders on 1240 Radio WOMT.
And a good Monday morning lecture. Good morning, Jim.
Terry, another great day out there.
Yes, it is. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well.
Good. Jim, we are continuing discussions and things like this here in Fine Living, and today we're talking about how to prepare for your contractor meeting. Again, kind of recap from last week, Jim Reif Builders, you guys are the general contractor, so you will manage and take care of every element of a project. And but there are items and issues that a customer or client should know going into a meeting with you first, correct?
Correct. And I thought we put a few thoughts down and to help folks out because, if you want to do, whether it's a new home or a renovation project, maybe preparing yourself for that meeting would be great. And, technology has given us a lot of really, really neat things. Like House is a website with oodles and oodles of photos, like millions of photos, in fact, and Pinterest. And you can go in there and look at different ideas that people have done and create your own little like portfolio album and collect those ideas. Using that, of course, there's the old ripping, pages out of magazines that we've experienced for years.
Sure.
And then one of the other things I think it's real important is kind of identifying your actual needs versus maybe that wants or a little bit of a wish list there.
Do you see a lot of people coming prepared into meetings like this, or is this something that we really want to start emphasizing, moving forward? I
think 2/3 of our clients, I would say, come prepared. About 1/3 don't. And then not that it's not a bad thing, but it takes a little extra in the process then to try to get all that information collected and get it on paper and then to keep the project moving. So if you have tighter deadlines, that you need to have something done maybe by a wedding or a graduation or something, the more information you have, the better.
Sure. And I would imagine, too, as we mentioned here, the needs versus wants. We all have a lot of wants, and we all probably want a lot for a little. Unfortunately, that's not reality.
It's just human nature, though. I mean, I think it's just, or maybe us as Americans at least,
indoor pool and movie theater isn't necessarily need, you're saying?
Sometimes, right.
But it is important to break down for an individual family, especially if they're a growing family, if they know they're going to want to have more bedrooms or bathrooms, to really know what the needs are and what the wants are, and then figure out exactly how you guys can make that happen for them.
Some simple things in regard to bathrooms, and especially a master. Do you want two separate sinks, Mr. and Mrs. kind of thing, is theirs, or just one, and it depends on your lifestyles too, and situations. So those are some of the neat things that we can chat about.
Now, what about financing? Is this something that you encourage people to come prepared with, knowing what their financial status is?
Well, definitely with new homes and bigger renovation or addition projects, you definitely want to know if you're going to be financing that with a lending institution, or if you're just going to be, hey, you have cash put aside, you saved up, and want to use it towards that. But along with it is your budget. There's a lot of resources on the internet. You could, Google and kind of get average costs of renovation projects, so you have an idea. Because I see a few times people have, again, big ideas, expectations, and they're really needs, not necessarily wants, but the budget don't allow for it. So if you can do some of the research ahead of time and then have those discussions with your builder. In some cases, they will not be able to give you budgets there because it's not as easy as pulling a number out of the air.
Sure.
But past
lots to go into it.
Past experience will give some indication. So.
Okay. Property. What do you mean by if they have the property?
Oh, this again would be a new home construction. Some people don't even have a lot. They want to build a house. We actually help them find a lot. We need to know that kind of information.
Okay. And the value versus the neighborhood as well.
Yeah, this is a little interesting concept. We get some calls about people wanting to do, big additions and stuff like that. And one of the things you have to keep in mind is, you put that addition on, will the appraisal with the lending institution work out with your neighborhood? If your neighborhood is, smaller homes and your value of your house is less, will putting a big $80,000 addition on make sense? Will you be able to get that money back? And those are discussions we should think and talk about.
And those are opportunities that you can help them with as well too, to figure out exactly if that is worth or in their best interest.
That is correct.
And the last one is simply to let the contractor know what their expectations are.
Correct. I think, as a consumer, you want to be able to provide information, the contractor, what you expect. Do you expect to, daily phone call or email, or if you're okay with being in contact once or twice a week, and what do you expect from your contractor, how often you expect them to be on the site, and so on and so forth. Cleanliness, a lot of, especially with the renovation projects when you're living there.
What I hear here, Jim, is just a lot of open communication and honesty and upfront working right off the top of the bat.
Great scenario, Terry. Yes, you're correct.
Jim, if listeners are looking at building or remodeling a project, how can they get hold of Jim Reif Builders?
You can give us a jingle on our phone at 684-6899, at jimreifbuilders.com on the web, and of course, we always on Facebook too.
Jim, we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Fine Living, presented by Jim Reif Builders, the leader in new construction and remodeling here on the Lakeshore. Let their vision enrich your lifestyle. Tune in again next week for another episode of Fine Living on 1240 Radio, WOMT. To learn more, visit jimreifbuilders.com.